Hi guys, welcome to another Divi theme video. This is Jamie from System 22 and web design at techtips.com. Oh, we got a really eye-catching one for you today. We've got a little text module. It's going to expand, reveal the text. It's going to stay there for about 5 seconds or so. However long it takes for people to read it, then it's going to contract back in again and disappear. And this sort of thing is really going to get people's attention quickly. It's going to get their eyeballs on it, which is just what you want, especially if you've got something important to say up there. Really easy to do. Let me take you through it. So here we are on the site. If you look at that text in front of you right there, you'll see it contracting, disappearing, and then it's going to roll back in and expand. I've got this rolling around a sort of 20-second animation. Gives people time to read it, and then it's going to disappear and reappear. Great way of getting people's attention. If something like this happens, it's really going to get people's attention, especially if you've got something important to say up there. So let's get started. I'm going to enable the visual builder. Okay, I'm going to pop down to wireframe mode so we can see it from the back end. I'm going to delete this little row here. Now we can pop back to the front end. Okay, I'm going to add a new row. Just click on the existing row, hit the little green button to add a new row. I'm going to use a single column for this today. I'm going to roll down. I'm going to use a little text module. Of course, you can use any module you want for this. Anybody wondering, the little extra blue modules there are from a plugin called Divi Supreme Lite. It's well worth a check out if you want some extra functional modules. And we've got a whole playlist on that too. Great, so I'm going to just leave that particular content in there. I've got nothing real to say, unfortunately. I'm going to leave it on the default text. I think all I'm going to do at the moment is go in there. I'm going to hit the text under design here and just pop it in the middle. Then I'm going to go into the row, little green tab for the row. I'm going to take away any space top and bottom. I will give it a little bit of space left and right. So design wise, I'm going to go down to spacing. Top and bottom, I'm going to put a 0 there. That's a little bit closer to our heading at the top. Hit the chain, it'll do the bottom also. I will give it a little padding left and right. Perhaps give it 30 pixels. Just put in the 30, it'll put in the pixels. Hit the chain, it'll do the opposite side for you. I think that's going to work for me. Great, well I'm going to save that. Now I'm going to go into the text module. The module is the dark tab. I'm actually going to give it a fixed height. So I'm going to go into the design, sizing. Here's our height. Let's try giving it 50 pixels. And I saw that little row down below move a bit, so I can probably take it down a little bit. As you can see, that row below is coming up in size. Yeah, let's try 40 pixels, because what I want to happen here, I'm going to hide any overflow. When this text shrinks down, it's going to get deeper because it'll start adding lines as it shrinks down, and I really don't want to see that. So now I've got my size there. I'm going to go to Advanced, Visibility, Horizontal and Vertical Overflow. I'm going to put both of those to Hidden, so we don't see anything that falls outside of that module. Great. Let's go back to our sizing now, and let's check it on tablet and mobile. And common to all Divi modules, if you roll up over, you'll see a little mobile phone type icon. Let's click the tablet. It's set to auto on tablet. Let's try 80 pixels. That's okay. I think I saw it push that row down a little bit. Let's just take it back till that row pops back up to the top. I think 70 pixels is going to do it. And let's look at it on mobile. We probably want 150 or so pixels on there. Let's put 100 in and see what happens. Yeah, let's jump that row up at the bottom there. 150. think that's going to do us on mobile. Fantastic. So we can go back to desktop now. Great. Well, let's create our animation now. To do that, we're going to go into the row, the green tab. And we're going to write a bit of CSS. If we go over to our advanced, you'll find custom CSS. And they've just added this freeform CSS tab. Okay, well, we've got to do a little bit of coding now. I love coding personally, but if you don't let it panic you. It's really easy to do. They just added a freeform CSS tab, which allows us to do the actual coding inside the modules and rows themselves now, which is really, really handy. Now, I'm going to write this all, and at the end of the video, I'll put it down below, but I would encourage you to do this yourself. That way, you get into the habit of it. And creating animations makes you less dependent on plugins and things like that to do things. And it's really easy to do, as you can see. So like I say, if you can get into the habit of writing a few things yourself, your editing skills are going to go through the roof. They really are. So we're going to use an animation, CSS animation for this today, which involves writing keyframes. And keyframes are just like stop frame animation, if you like. You can make things happen at certain points during a timeline. Great fun. Like I say, not difficult to do at all. So let's get back to it. Great, once we're on the freeform CSS tab, we can add a bit of complex CSS here. And to affect the row, all we need to write is selector. Over close some curly brackets, we can tell it what we want it to do. Well, I want to create an animation which is going to make it shrink, so I'm going to say animation. Then I have to give the animation a name, so I'm going to say colon. I'm going to make up a name called txtgro, perhaps txtgro. That's my shorthand. You can call yours what you want, but it does need to be unique. I'm going to have mine running over a 20-second period, so I'm going to say 20 seconds. I want it to keep going and going, so I'm going to say infinite. And I want it to be smooth, so I'm going to say linear. Great. Well, now I need to create this animation called txtgro. So down below, I'm going to create it with keyframes. So I'm going to say at keyframes. Then the name, txtgro. Then we can open and close some more curly brackets and actually create the animation. So when the page loads, second one of our 20 seconds, I'm going to say 0%, that would be. I'm going to open and close some more curly brackets here. And I'm going to give it a width of 100%, which is full width. Just exactly what I want there. Then I'm going to grab this, I'm going to copy it, Control C. I'm going to drop down, I'm going to paste it several times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Just expand this so you can see what's going on. And I'm going to make the next one 10%, next one 20%, next one 30%, next one 40%. I think what I did before, when it got to 40%, I had it back to 100% width, and I wanted it to stay there for quite a bit. So I jumped up from 40% to 80%. Then we got 90%. Then we got 100%, which is at the 20-second mark. Great. Well, at the 40, I'm going to add, let me just copy that. I'm going to comma separate these, so I'm going to put a comma in there. I'm going to put 50, put another comma, 60, and then 70. So I'm going to change that one to 50, 60, and 70. So basically what that's going to say is 8, 10, 12, and 14-second mark of our 20-second. It's going to stay at a width of 100. I'm going to change these widths out here, so that's going to make the shrink effect. So at 0, I'm going to have that perhaps 10% width. At 10%, I'll have it perhaps 30% of its width. And you can see it's starting to animate already. Then 20, I'm going to have it at 50. Looks like I got two 20s there. That should be a 30, I'm sure. 30%, I'm going to put it up to 80. And as I mentioned earlier, 40, 50, 60, 70, I want it 100%. And I want to bring it back down. So I'm going to say 70, 50, and at 100%, I'm just going to say 1%. It's going to go down crazy small there. Might take those down a bit. Let's take that down to perhaps 50 and 20. If we look up the top now, it's starting off there full width. It's waiting there. We're obviously at this section, squishing it down. And then it's going back out again. And let's just take the opacity away because it kind of fades out as well. At the end of the 10% there, I'm going to put a semicolon. I'm going to say opacity 0, which will be invisible. As you can see, or as you can't see, it's disappeared there. But I want to bring it back when it gets to about 10%. So let's copy that. And at 10%, I'm going to add that. I'm going to change that to a 1. The reason I'm putting it at 0 at first is because I'm going to have it disappear at the end here as well. So I'm going to take that opacity 0. And we'll put it at the end here also. That way it'll fade in and fade out. Let's wait for it to reduce back in again. It's not really fully visible there, is it? So let's use our opacity 1 again. I'll take it from the semicolon. And let's put this in about 80% to make sure it gets fully back when we get over here. That's better. That's nice and crisp. And it'll start reducing in again. And it'll start to fade out right there. And it'll fade back in. Nice and crisply. Perfect, just exactly what I wanted. Now I'll put this CSS down below the video for anybody that just wants to copy and paste it, but I would recommend that you actually do it yourself and get in the habit, because keyframes and animations are really easy to do, and they're great fun, and you can create some wonderful effects with it as well, without having to depend on adding a new plugin, as we mentioned earlier. Great, so let's save this, make sure it's going to work on the front end. Let's save my changes there. Save draft or publish if you're ready. And let's exit the Visual Builder. There it is, faded in, full width. It's going to go back into the center again, reduce down. If you want to speed this effect up, you can take that 20 seconds down in timing. And it's disappearing out when it gets small like that. And coming back in. Perfect. Just exactly what we wanted. Like I say, if you want to speed it up, take that 20 seconds down. I like to leave it like that. It gives them a chance to actually read it before it disappears again. And like I say, that's a really eye-catching thing to have on your website. Perfect. So there we have it. There's a little animated text box that's going to go in and out to your heart's content. Like I say, really great way of getting people's attention and getting them to read what you've got up there. It'll certainly get them to notice it, if nothing else. So I hope you've enjoyed this today and found it useful. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, ring the bell, comment. It's always great to hear from you. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this bit of CSS coding today, take a look at our simple CSS playlist. It should appear over there any second now. And you'll probably find something else to interest you. Once again, this has been Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Don't forget, if you have any questions, pop them down below the video. I'll do my best to answer them. I've got a lot of subscribers there and over 5 million views, so if I don't get to you, please don't be insulted. I'm doing my best, I really am. But if you have anything you want to ask, put it down below the video. Always gives me great ideas for the next video. So thanks for watching. Have a great day.